This $500 million gun does not use anything flammable, but uses super powerful magnets to propel missile-like objects through the air. The Electromagnetic Railgun is found on the USS Zumwalt, but we'll talk about that later. The new Electromagnetic Railgun is extremely powerful because it can shoot up to 124 miles. It has the longest firing range in the military today. Now, let's go into how it works. The railgun consists of two parallel metal rails connected to an electrical power supply. When a conductive projectile is placed between the rails, it completes the circuit. The railgun is basically a large electric circuit, made up of three parts: a power source, a pair of parallel rails, and a moving armature. When a current is passed through the system, the armature is accelerated, which results in the electromagnetic effect, which finally aids into discharging the projectile. So, in other words, the electromagnetic railgun avoids the need of an explosion-oriented setup. The electromagnetic railgun can shoot up to 10 rounds per minute. The weapon releases a current of the order of 3 to 5 million amps. That's 1,200 volts, released in a 10 millisecond time frame, experts have said. That's enough to accelerate an object of approximately 45 pounds from 0 to 5,000 miles per hour in 1/100th of a second, Naval's official said. With all this power, it can shoot a projectile at 5,700 miles per hour. The U.S. Navy's experimental railgun is getting new upgrades to make it fire more powerful shots and fire them faster. It is the latest part of progress on this still landlocked weapon, but when and where will it actually be installed on a warship is not clear. Anyhow, for long, the quality of the railgun is met with many limitations. But in the contemporary state of affairs, BAE has successfully designed their own version of a working prototype that has an impressive muzzle velocity of Mach 7.5, or 5,700 miles per hour, and a range of over 124 miles. Sadly, it is being directly funded by the Office of Naval Research, or ONR. This future military technology can be put on board the future Zumwalt-Class Destroyers. BAE engineers are also planning to craft more effective, yet smaller versions of the railgun that can be installed on large tanks. These scaled-down versions are investigated to be used on top of the U.S. Army's next generation of fighting vehicles. With its great muzzle velocity and extended range, the electromagnetic railgun will give sailors a multi-mission capability, allowing them to make precise naval surface fire support in land strikes, ship defense, and surface warfare to sink enemy ships. The Navy planners are targeting a 100 plus nautical mile initial capability. A variety of new and existing naval platforms are being studied for the integration of future tactical railgun systems. Defense Tech reporters of the Navy want to push the Office of Naval Research prototype railgun from a science experiment to useful weapon territory. The goal, according to Tom Buettner, head of Naval Air Warfare and Weapons for the ONR, is 10 shots per minute at 32 megajoules. How much power is that? One way of looking at it is a 22 caliber bullet has 1,000 foot-pounds at the muzzle. A 32 megajoule railgun shot has 23,601,988 foot-pounds. When it fires projectiles that destroy targets with non-high explosives, but smashing into them at hypersonic speeds. The Navy has been waiting for years for the railgun to join the fleet. Part of the delay has been because the Navy is making the railgun more durable. The kinetic power unleashed when firing the railgun is rough on the weapon's parts. As PM wrote in 2009, the year the railgun was delivered to the Navy, a few shots can dislodge the conducting rails, or even damage the barrel of the gun. That wasn't a weapon ready for prime time. Now, as Hope Head Shack reports, the Navy thinks that they can get to the point where the launcher's core, which previously wore out after 10 shots, could fire more than 400 shots and the barrel could last up to 1,000 rounds. "The railgun is revolutionary in terms of how much it can accelerate a bullet," said Tom Bochner, the railgun program manager for the Office of Naval Research. "Powdered guns have been manufactured to the point where you're going to get the most out of them, but the railgun is just the beginning." Now let's talk about the Zumwalt. Construction for the Zumwalt started in February 2009. The launch of the ship occurred on October 29, 2013. The ship is currently having hull, mechanical, and electrical tests and trials for another period to follow for combat and mission system equipment installation, activation, and tests to follow. DDG 1001 Zumwalt was named Michael Monser in October 2008 by then Secretary of the Navy Donald Winter, honoring Petty Officer 2nd Class Michael Monser, a Navy SEAL who was awarded the Medal of Honor for his heroic actions in Ramadi, Iraq. September 29, 2006. DDG 1001's start of fabrication took place on October 2009. In July 2014, Huntington Ingalls Industries delivered the DDG 1001 composite deckhouse to the Navy. In April 2012, DDG 1002 was named Landon B. Johnson by Secretary of the Navy Ray Mambus. The section of Landon B. Johnson honors the nation's 36th president and continues the Navy's tradition of naming ships after presidents. DDG 1002 start of fabrication took place on April 4, 2012. The 3 Zumwalt-Class Destroyers are in trouble. Originally envisioned as a fleet of more than nearly 3 dozen destroyers and weapons that justified them, Zumwalts have faced delays, cuts, and major cost increases. They have become relevant again by taking on a new role, that of a stealthy ship killer. The Zumwalt-Class Destroyers were originally envisioned as a fleet of 32 destroyers designed to attack targets far inland with precision-guided howitzer shells. Designed in part to support amphibious landings of the U.S. Marine Corps, the Zumwalts were meant to make up for the lack of big gun firepower caused by the retirement of the Iowa-class destroyers. I hope I answered your question about what was the most advanced technology in the military today. Tune in next time on the weekly news broadcast.